Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of the Our America channel. My name is Thornton Prayer. I'm a citizen, a patriot, and I care very deeply about our country. Today, I'd like to talk about ideologues and ideology. I try to study history and politics. I'm not an expert about any of these things, but I try to stay on top of these things to understand what's going on. And if you were to ask me what my political ideology is, I'd say I'm probably center-left, a moderate if you want to call it that. But I try to be open-minded, and I try to be a realist. And with that in mind, I recognize that perfect solutions almost never exist. By contrast, when I look at people who call themselves ideologues, or could be labeled as such, they have a very, very clear vision, which seems to be fairly extreme. Left-wing ideologues, right-wing ideologues, libertarian ideologues, all sorts of ideologues. And the thing I would say about people who are hardcore ideologues of any kind is that they live in a fantasy state. The fantasy state believes that there are perfect solutions, there are perfect answers, and all we have to do is impose those perfect answers and life will be magical, and then we'll have unicorns and fairies all over the place. That's not reality, and that's not life. The problem with ideologues is that ideologues try to impose a solution that's anti-democratic, and I would even say anti-life and anti-Christian on people who don't agree with them. There's a problem with that, and this is why I think ideologues fail. Human beings are not dogs. You cannot train human beings, but ideologues believe that you can. And so when people fight back against ideologues, they actually get mad, and then they want to use, if they have the control of the state, I'm talking about the government as a whole, to try to impose their solutions on people, and then try to make sure that people suffer as a result, including putting people in jail, or trying to destroy their lives, or in extreme cases, killing them. If you want to know what happened in the 1930s and 40s, with the Nazis, with the fascists in Italy, with what happened with the communists, you had hardcore ideologues who had no problem wiping out millions of people in order to impose their fantasy belief on the world. And people died unnecessarily as a result. And one of the things I think a lot of people are worried about, me included, is we're seeing the rise of these kinds of people being able to get control of our political system. Now, I know a lot of people who might be watching this might say, well, I'm an ideologue and screw you. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But the problem with that is that if you believe that you can bash people in order to get your perfect world in place, ultimately that's going to backfire on you, because human beings, like I said, are not dogs. And more importantly, human beings have a very, very consistent tendency to fight back. I'm not someone who likes fighting. I think most people in this country don't want to fight either. They just want to get on with it. They want to get on with their lives, make sure that they can put food on the table and pay their bills and pay their rent and mortgages and all that sort of thing. But because ideologues are trying to pull people in order to their fantasy worlds, we have the risk of destroying what this country is about. This nation has a precious gift from the Constitution, from the founders, and some of the struggles we have had over this country's history through the Civil War, the Civil Rights Movement, and things of that nature. And there are people who want to destroy all of that in order to go back to their fantasies, to live in fantasy realms of belief and existence. Well, go for it, I say. Problem is, you're going to destroy yourself in the process, because human beings don't like that across the board. I understand people want to have fantasy solutions. They want to have a perfect world. I understand that's what human beings like to do. But as a realist, and I strive to be a realist, I recognize that this is not possible. And believing that compromise is somehow selling out or a form of evil is actually a form of delusion. If we want to solve what's going on in this country, this is going to take realistic thought and dialogue and opening up to people who have different points of view. And in the spirit of trying to do the right thing, or as Abraham Lincoln said, appealing to the higher angels of our nature to try to resolve what's going on. Because I don't have all the answers. I don't believe anybody has all the answers. And I'm going to ask you not to believe anyone who believes they have all the answers, because that's simply not true. Now, I know, like I said, some of you may disagree with this, but that's why I'm doing this channel. Because my goal is to heal this country, to bring this country together so that all of us benefit, not these people at the expense of those people. That's a foolish belief system. I always find it ironic when I hear people who are Nazi ideologues talk about how great Nazism was. And when I think about that, it's like, gee, the Nazis were in power 12 years and they destroyed their country. Germany was destroyed because of the Nazis. And people think that they were successful. I don't get it. I think it's a joke. So I'm going to wrap up here. Again, feel free to leave thoughts and comments below. That's today's edition of the Our America channel. Thank you for watching.